Pope Francis has been taken to hospital suffering a respiratory infection. The Vatican says the pontiff has had breathing difficulties in recent days, but does not have COVID. Here's reporter Delia Gallagher from Rome.
The latest news we have is from several hours ago from the Vatican, probably all we're going to get for tonight, that he is staying overnight in the hospital for this respiratory infection. And indeed, the Vatican says he will need to be there for a few days to take care of this condition. They told us this afternoon that he was going to the hospital for previously scheduled tests, but they didn't specify what those were. And then later in the afternoon, they confirmed that there is a respiratory infection for the Pope. They had said, as you mentioned, that it's not COVID, but that the Pope had been complaining in the past few days about respiratory difficulties. But I must say, Peter, we saw him this morning in St. Peter's Square for his weekly general audience. He was speaking and breathing just fine. At the same time, as you mentioned, he's 86 years old. And when he was a young man, he had part of his right lung removed. So obviously, we're monitoring closely these next few days to see his progress in the hospital, Peter.
So, I mean, just in your conversations with the Vatican and their media teams, Delia, do they have any concerns about his health? I mean, he has had ailments in recent times. He's getting around in a wheelchair now, and we're getting into that busy Easter period for him. But privately, do they have any concerns long-term about him?
You're never going to get any sense of alarm out of the Vatican anyway, but I must say, over 20 years' experience reporting here, it does seem to be that they're dealing with an infection. He needs to be, obviously, the best place for him is a hospital. As I say, the best way that we have is we can see the Pope, and we just saw him this morning. He seemed okay. At the same time, anytime you're talking about an 86-year-old with part of his lung removed, and you mentioned he has mobility issues which have bothered him. The last time he was in the hospital, the same hospital, Gemelli Hospital, where all the popes go, was in the summer of 2021, and he had some 13 inches of his intestine taken out. He was there for 10 days. He wasn't very happy with the anesthesia from that surgery, so he doesn't want to go back and do any more surgeries. But those were different issues. This is a respiratory issue. So really, I think it's a wait and see how he progresses in these next few days. You mentioned Easter week coming up, starting on Palm Sunday. He has a whole series of masses and events to do, but we're going to have to wait and see if he's up to it.